Hey guys, today in this video I'll be explaining to you how to use these three triggers: item edit, item compare, and item persistent. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to be doing is item edit trigger. So item edit, what it basically does is that it uses operations on these two item IDs. So this is kind of like a built-in calculator that you can have in your game. This requires 3 item IDs. And so what it does is that you have your item ID here, so it basically adds subtracts to get this one. So I'm going to be I'm going to get 3 item IDs. I'm already using another font. Alright. So you just set this to 1, and that's basically about it. 2, 3. And so this one we'll be using the pickup trigger. So pickup trigger basically just makes the 0 goes to 1 and stuff like that. So item ID will be 1, count. So make sure the item ID will be the same as this one, this number over here, and have the counts to be 1 as well. If you have 2, they will count by 2, so just do it 1 as well. And as you can see, it now counts all the way up. And do the same thing for the second one. So this over here, so we have 4 and 5, so this will be turning into 9. So with the item edit trigger, what we can do now is that we're going to select item to 1, item ID 2 here, select both of them item. You can have timer, you can have points, attempts, main time, and stuff like that. And what you do now is you set this to 3. So now over here it says item ID 3 will be equal to that, well, the first one plus the second one. So which means, like, I'm doing 3 of this and I'm doing 4 of this. Now 4 plus 3 will be equals to 7, and guess what? It equals 7. And you can add up more, so this is like a calculator for adding. And yeah, timer. So this could be equals to timer plus 2. So I have to set this to a time counter, and I can have the time. We can have ID of 2. We're gonna start pause. I'm gonna start like 2 seconds. So that should equal 3. Oh, because it's in the first one, so this one. So yeah, there you go, 3. With points, what you can do now is that I'm going to be using these collectibles. So for this, we're going to display this. We're going to untick this, and we're going to take points over here, and it's going to say GP. I think it stands for game points. Then you just click on points here, and then for some reason that doesn't show anything. Okay, there we go. So it shows up. Oh, we'll display 4, and there we go. With main time, if I set this to main time, this is just like the regular time, like the main time for like the entire game. And it doesn't affect the time triggers or something like that. So this will be 11, then 13, 15, or something like that, and so on. Attempt, so it doesn't work in playtest. I will be sure to get a spike so it can go into the next attempt. So it's this one here, 3 equals 1 plus attempts. So for this, for example, if I were to have 2 plus 1, it'll be 3. So it'll be, right now the attempt is 1. So if I die, then it'll be 2. Then it'll be 3. Then it'll be, right? So if I add that, it'll be 4. So let's go back to our actual regular items now. We also have the timer and points for the target. This button over here is basically like another So if you had it as equals, it'll be one item ID plus the second equals the third. But if you add it like plus, then it'll be the first one plus the second one plus the third one equals the third one. So if I, let's say 1 and 2, so 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 equals 6. Yeah, so what it does is it basically just counts up by 3. So the middle one is, of course, our actual operations. You can subtract it, you can multiply it, like 4 times 3 is 12. Same goes for dividing. This one, it's only multiplying and dividing for the mod. This one over here is for absolute and negative values. And this one over here is for rounding and flooring. So rounding, floor, and ceiling as well. So that is for the item edit trigger. Now let's go ahead and go on to item compare. But this, you need to know a little bit of programming knowledge to learn how to use this. If you know programming, this is basically like an if trigger, like an if condition. This could be used for like if the attempt is equals to 1, then you just trigger that, else you don't. So we're going to start off with attempt. So if the attempt will equal to 1, then it's going to basically, then we're going to trigger something. So else if it's not attempts equals to 1, then we're going to trigger other stuff. So I'm going to use a pulse trigger like that. We're going to paint this red. Paint this red. I mean, we're not going to paint it, but we're going to color this red. So it fades like that. So I just set this to a group of 1, and I do the same thing, but instead I'm pulsing in green. So we're going to click on attempts over here, and it already says if the attempts equals to 1. Equals means if attempts equals to 1. This button over here, you can change whatever you'd like. So this is if attempt is greater than 1. This one is if attempts is greater than or equals to 1. If attempts is less than 1. If attempts is less than or equals to 1. If the attempt is not equals to 1. So with this over here, and I'll be displaying the attempts counter. I don't have the hide attempts part, but yeah. So if the attempts equals to 1, then this, so true and false ID. So if it equals to 1, then this will pop up. If this is not, then this will pop up. So this is group of 1. So I'll put 1 and 2 like that. So which means that if the attempts will be 1, then it'll pulse red. If not, it'll pulse green. So let's try it. I will be putting up high. Okay, it doesn't show in here, but yeah. So as you can see, it pulses red, and now it pulses green. And whatever I do, it's gonna pulse green like that. And same goes for time, points, as timer, item, ID, and stuff like that. But we're gonna go continue with attempts. The other one is also like if the attempt equals the item to 2, then it basically just does it, whatever. There is a bug that this one says time, this one says time, but it both says attempts. Mod 2 is what's this for. So if attempts will be equals to 2, you set the mod 2 to 2. For example. So that is it for the item compare trigger. Next up is item persistent. So this makes the item to be persistent, which means it does not reset upon player but only on exit. So I'll explain to you what this means. I'm going to get a timer. I'm going to be setting a timer up real quickly. Okay, and I'm going to display as a checkpoint. So if I have, let's wait till like 2 seconds. I activate it. If I die, it's gonna respawn the time where I hit this checkpoint. If you don't want that to happen, that's what persistent actually is. I tick on timer. You can also reset it. So you have this thing to reset it. So just take that persistent, and what this does is that it's still gonna continue going. Anyways, that is it with this tutorial. If you like it, if you learn something new, that's great. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. The more subscribers I get, the more videos I will be posting. There are going to be some more tutorials later on. I'll be posting some more tutorials. I'm thinking about doing random triggers, audio triggers, as well as some shaders and camera controls. Alright, see ya.